Tankal. This is Lara. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at Sertifier. And today we will be talking about going back to school. We will be talking about how you can, as part of higher education institutions, can build career readiness with your students, how you can promote skills, and also strengthening your student networks as well in the meantime. So we'll talk about best practices and more. Without further ado, let's get started and take a look at our agenda for today. First, we need to lay a base layer for us to build upon on. So we will be starting with the opportunity for your institution to getting started with digital credentials, basically what's in it for you as an institution. Then we will be talking about best practices. I've divided the section into 3 subsections. We'll first talk about recognizing achievements, then connecting students to careers, and then lastly, expanding networks and boosting your institutional brand. Then before jumping into the Q&A section, we will also be taking a look at the case study that we did with one of our customers, which is Jackson State University, which I'm excited about to share with you. So let's take it from the very basics. Let's first talk about why digital credentials matter in higher education. Around this topic, we also need to talk about how higher education is evolving with the digitalization, the outcomes that are being expected from the students, and the things that they need to bring into the table for recruiters to be able to hire them is changing. Degrees were the gold standard of this matter. However, more and more each and every year, we are seeing that recruiters are valuing skills over qualifications. So whenever we are talking about digital credentials and higher education, we need to talk about the importance of skill-based education and digital credentials. Taking a look at the opportunities for you as a higher education institution, let's imagine a student together. I'll call her Olivia. Let's imagine that Olivia is studying at the Acme University, and she is enrolled in an Introduction to Psychology course. Throughout this course, she will be receiving, first of all, micro-credentials, maybe badges, throughout the whole semester. And at the end, she will receive her very own certificate, proving that she did the work and she achieved at the end of the semester. So whenever you are issuing credentials to students like Olivia, the first thing that you can expect to see is an increase in retention, because what Olivia feels whenever she gets her first micro-credential or badge is, first of all, she is feeling proud, she is feeling being like she is being recognized. So this will increase her motivation, and she will be more motivated to show progress at the other parts of her courses or for the rest of the semester. When Olivia, for example, graduates from Acme University, she will also be seeing other credentials being issued to other students, which is a chance for Olivia to engage with other students, get to know them a little bit better. And also, so this will keep the alumni network very tight and communicative. The third outcome that you can expect to see with digital credentials as a higher education institution is enhancing the career outcomes of the students. Let's take Olivia, for example, once again. Whenever she graduates, she within her micro-credentials, within her badges and certificates, she has specific skills that were aligned with the career outcomes of her program. So this will allow her to showcase these skills, showcase the specific abilities that she gained throughout the platform, throughout the course. And lastly, the last opportunity for you as an institution that we will be talking about is, of course, elevating your institutional brand. All of these credentials, all of these certificates, badges being shared on social media platforms, most importantly, maybe LinkedIn, will be highlighting your achievements as an institution as well, your program quality. In that note, I would like to ask Burak if he wants to give any examples from our customers.
Gladly, Lara. Thank you for the chance here. When we mention a higher education institution, the first name that comes to our minds would be MIT. And as you already know, we have multiple programs from MIT that use digital credentialing to elevate their institutional brand. To begin with, before the solution with the current setup did not allow them to promote their programs organically. And basically, they need to survive within the semester. And after the semester, get the funds, get the budget allocation, and renew their programs. And marketing was the core part of it. And since they were not able to organically promote this and make new people enroll to their programs, they were suffering before the solution. But with our solution, now they convert their students into their promoters. The students, such as Olivia, sharing their achievements, badges, and certificates on LinkedIn with their colleagues, with their peers, with their friends, with proud, with excitement, and they make them come to see the MIT's programs, such as UPOP or Graduate Engineering Leadership Program or Garden Leadership Program. So they convert students into a marketing machine, and they elevate the institutional brand by this way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the example. MIT is maybe one of the best examples when it comes to using digital credentials as part of highlighting their value as a brand. Thank you so much for that example, Brooke. I appreciate it. So going over to the faculty and admin benefits, because it's not just the institution that is benefiting from the digital credentials that are being issued to the students. We can first talk about how you can reduce admin burden using integrations. Sertifier, for example, integrates seamlessly with the LMS platforms that you might be using, with any of the portals that you might be tracking students' progress. So you can directly use the tools that you already have, the platforms that you already have, and link them to the digital credentialing tool, which is Sertifier in this case, and you can automate the whole credentialing process instead of maybe manually creating those credentials, maybe printing them manually and signing them one by one. You can make this whole process fully automated. And the next benefit for the admins themselves is that you can track progress of your students very closely. We will be talking about how you can create career pathways for your students to follow through. And from in those pathways, you will be able to see which students are in which step, how much of the program that they have completed so far. So you will get very detailed, real data to work from. And the last benefit that I want to talk about is the real-time insights that you will be getting. Whenever a credential is being shared, whenever it's being added to the LinkedIn platform, you will get notifications, you will get real-time insights and data that you can use to better the digital credentialing programs that you already have. And regarding real-time insights, recently me and my colleague Burak had a very sweet interaction. Burak, if you could just also share that too, because it was very lovely to see.
It always makes me smile when I mention that. And we were in a call together, as you say. So we were just onboarding new users to our platform, and they were trying to implement a new badge to their system. And their main goal was to make their members share these badges instantly. And we helped them to set these badges, design them, and share them. We completed that part, and we were checking the real-time insights to see what they can see in that suit. At that very moment, their members started to share these badges on LinkedIn, and we saw it in minutes, not in days, not in weeks or months. We saw the results in our eyes in that very meeting, and it always makes me confident that such an approach will be able to create results immediately without any delays or waiting times.
Yes, absolutely. Not just our excitement from buyer, but also the excitement of the customers. Seeing the credentials that they just issued being shared, it was a whole thing. We rushed over to LinkedIn to see what the students said about their credentials. So this is a great example of how real-time analytics and data can impact your workflow. You can see the impacts immediately. Coming into the best practices, now that we understand why digital credentials matter and how they can work for you, now we can start talking about best practices. And as I mentioned before, I divided this into three sections. And the first one is best practices for recognizing achievements as a higher education institution. So, whenever we are talking about digital credentials, we are talking about first certificates and also badges. They can be used together, they can be used separately, but most importantly, they allow you to create variety within your credentials. So, we gave the example of Olivia. She received many badges and micro credentials throughout her program, and certificate was the one thing that she could use to uh, give proof for the whole course that she completed. But badges are very important whenever we are talking about digital credentials because they specify skills. They are skill oriented. So, for example, Olivia can have a clinical psychology award badge that would signify her achievement and also capability in that specific skill. So creating variety using both badges and certificates throughout your whole workflow, and that way also gamifying the experience for the students, first of all motivates them because playing a game is always fun. Also collecting badges and working towards certificates can be fun whenever you gamify the experience. And this variety also gives the students an option how they want to utilize their digital credentials. Badges, they look great as email signatures. Certificates, they look great in the LinkedIn profile under licenses and certifications. So they each have their own very specific use cases for the students. So this diversity also helps them greatly. Coming into the next section of best practices for higher education institutions is connecting students to the careers. We already talked about how career market is being more and more skill oriented as time goes year by year. So aligning the skills for the credentials that you are giving out is the first step. Whenever you are using Sertifier or whenever you are seeing one of the credentials issued through Sertifier, you will see that we have a specific section just for defining skills. So whenever you issue a badge, whenever you issue a certificate, anyone that comes to visit that digital credential can see which specific skills are being recognized through this credential. Another thing that you should be doing as a higher education institution is highlighting the job relevance. So, going from our example of Olivia, whenever you are giving out credentials for example, a psychology degree, you should also be looking into which skills are being searched by the recruiters in that industry and for that label. So that way you can see which skills are being searched for and you can highlight the relevance of your course, of your degree to that job. This way, whenever your students graduate, they will have a much easier time landing jobs, which will also help with your institution reputation. And the last part that I want to talk about is you can also consider it to be a little bit of a tip is supporting career pathways. So whenever we are issuing credentials, they are not standalone credentials. They can be connected to each other, they can be supporting each other. So it's also very important to show the students that those credentials are connected. And a very easy way to do this is using the pathway system. So I want to give you a little example so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. I'm at the Certifier dashboard at the moment, and I will be going over to Advanced, and under Advanced, Pathways. The Pathways feature, it's exactly what it is. It allows you to create pathways of credentials and allows you to connect them to each other. I want to create a new pathway with you as the issuer of Acme University, the university that Olivia is in. And whenever we are configuring our pathway, we will be starting with the pathway's title and the pathway's description. This information will be visible in the pathways page so that also the student can see or have more information, or anyone else visiting the pages can have more information around the pathway and what we are working towards. After configuration, you can directly add from the campaigns that you have already created. I will follow our example, and I will be starting with a psychology micro-credential. Then I will be adding another credential to the same step. This will be an introduction to psychology badge. So I have two small credentials, a micro credential and a badge as the first step. And at the end, if a student has both of these, both the micro credential and the badge, then I want them to receive a certificate. So at the second step, I can search from my campaigns, and I can add the Introduction to Psychology diploma. So you can see how it all connects together. The next step after lining out the courses that I want to give credentials for is choosing prerequisites. Just like courses have prerequisites in higher education from time to time, the credentials can have ones too. For the prerequisites, I can use either and statements or statements. So this will allow me to create a complex ecosystem of credential campaigns. But for this very basic example, I will be choosing if a student has psychology micro-credential and the Intro to Psychology badge, then I want them to automatically receive the diploma for Introduction to Psychology. Let's click Save. And now you can see that these three credential campaigns are connected to each other. If I want to automate this, I can also do so. I can click on Send Automatically, and whenever a student reaches the condition of having both of these, they will automatically receive this one. You can also make it so that it's not sent automatically. You can come and check to see which students are awaiting for their diploma, and then you can send manually as well. But automating the process will give you the peace of mind that you need in the whole admin work. After completing the pathways, I can click Save, and then I can publish this pathway. Once this pathway is published, this means that the automation is doing its job. And we talked about how pathways, or that they have also their own pages. Let me show you an example of this for the pathway that we created. So this will be a pathway credential page. This allows the students to see which credentials that they need to get the next one, and to get the next one, and then the next one. So they can get more details on the work that they need to complete. A recruiter can come into this page to see which skills that the student gained from credential to credential, what they achieved at the end. So this will give information not just for the student, but also the recruiters that will be coming in to check these pages as well. So with this tip, creating pathways and issuing credentials using pathways will allow you to, first of all, generate more credentials in a shorter amount of time, because once you set up the pathway, then you don't have to worry about anything else. It will work for you. It will do its job. And it will also allow you to create the variety that we have been talking about from the start. So the last part of the best practices is expanding the networks that you already have, and also boosting your institutional brand through digital credentials. So, through our conversation, Burak also alluded to that as well. We talked about how credentials being shared can work as marketing tools for you. We don't often think about digital credentials as marketing tools, but they are. And most importantly, they are passive marketing tools that you don't have to worry about. Once it's out there, the credential has its own reach with your brand on it. That's the most important part. Um, as we are talking about expanding networks and strengthening student connections, we talked about how it can strengthen the alumni network, but don't just think about it in the way for the relation between student to student. It can also strengthen the connections between you as the institution or the admin and the student. It's not just the student to student connection. So, first of all, whenever the recipients get their credentials, they feel gratitude. They feel proud to have completed the credential program. And the moment of congratulations that you are creating, and especially if you are engaging with the shared credentials, it will greatly affect your relationship with the students. This will allow you to highlight the impact that your programs are having on the students themselves and around the students and in their future whenever they are applying for jobs in the market. And all in all, it increases your visibility because each credential is a marketing tool functioning on its own. So you can use those credentials by creating variety, by issuing as many credentials as possible to increase your visibility and boosting your brand as much as possible as well. Coming from the best practices, now we can also take a look at an example, a university who followed these best practices, so you can also see the real world impact. Jackson State University, they have been a customer of ours for the past 3 years, and this was a case study that we did at the end of their first year. They are a classified high research university at USA, Mississippi, and they have been using Canvas as their LMS. So this is the general info that you need to know as we are coming into this case study. And the challenge that they came to us with is that they relied on printed certificates. Printed certificates are notoriously messy because it's hard to get them printed out and customized for each of the students. They get lost quickly. They need to be signed individually. So it's a whole process, not just for you, but also for the students. You can ask me how many credentials I have, how many certificates I have left in a drawer in my mother's house. But all of my digital credentials are within reach. So this challenge that the Jackson State University relied on printed certificates limited their digital presence greatly because without digital credentials, it's very hard for students to share their certificates. So this greatly limits the digital presence whenever you are working with printed certificates. And the solution was, of course, to introduce digital credentials, but also to focus on automation. We have been talking about reducing admin work. This is exactly what Jackson State University did through using digital credentials. So, taking a look at the results and impact of the first year of their credentialing program, they have issued 1,000 and more than 1,000 credentials to their students, and they seen firsthand how it increased student motivation and sense of accomplishment. This is real student feedback. And then they also seen how digital credentials transitioning into digital affected their productivity and accuracy in credential management, because as humans, we make errors, but the algorithm does not. So it's much more reliable to work with digital credentials as well. Lastly, enhanced student confidence in pursuing academic and professional goals has been a huge part of the impact as well, because with digital credentials being verifiable, easily shareable, with aligned skills, the students were much more inclined to pursue their academic or professional careers once they got their digital credentials. So taking a look at what we can learn from Jackson State University is that, first of all, digital credentials equals lasting academic value. Digital credentials don't get lost. That's one of the most important parts. The next thing is that automation boosts efficiency and seamless LMS integration whenever as a higher education institution that is working with digital credentials is key, because you don't want much more admin work. So automating and integrating with the systems that you already have is one of the keys to success. The third thing is that credentialing is a marketing tool, as I have been emphasizing for the last few minutes there. And lastly, data-backed impact allows you to see what impact that you are really making. You can see how many students are engaging with their credentials. You can see how many website visits that you are getting from the shared credentials. You can see how much impact the shared credentials are making on Facebook or LinkedIn. So this data-backed impact will allow you to see things much more clearly and track student progress and the engagement much more clearly as well. I want to share one of the sentences from Jackson State University from Mabel, who has been an instructional designer and adjunct professor at the Jackson State University at the time that we were conducting this case study. And I've already highlighted the points that I wanted you to focus on. The first thing is a user-friendly dashboard, which is easy to learn, easy to implement, and easy to start making impact. The next thing is that a couple of easy steps that it takes to start a digital credentialing program. Once you have your components, your badge design, your certificate design, the details that you want to highlight, then it's very easy to issue your first credentials, to start a pilot program, and to see the impact that you are making immediately. The next part is integration with Canvas in Jackson State University's case, a seamless integration, most importantly, that allows you to connect the systems that you already have into Sertifier and start issuing digital credentials in an automated way. And the last part is the flexibility that the students have to share, to download, to embed their credentials, to highlight them under licenses and certifications in LinkedIn profiles, the flexibility provided by digital credentials, and the things that you can do with printed certificates. These are much more easier whenever students have access to the digital credentials. As we are coming to a close, I want to talk about the campaign that we are making with this back to school season. We are running a campaign for higher education institutions where you can get $1,000 worth of advance support for free. So if you are interested, if you want to talk to us, if you want to see that you are eligible, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Burak or Arda or me. You can connect to our support team as well. We would be more than happy to talk with you and see what solution we can come up with specific to your case. As we are coming into the Q&A section, I want to hand over the mic to Arda, because we have some questions that we gathered from you previously before the session.
Well, thank you so much, Lara, and thank you so much for dedicating a great portion of your time, also your breath, for the introduction and giving insights regarding all the experience we have collected at Sertifier so far. I was trying to simultaneously write down the URL within the chat section for our attendees to reach out to us for a request of demo. During this request, you can also mention your higher education institution to benefit from 25% of discount, in addition to $1,000 of discount, including an advanced support package that we will be offering until the end of next month. So majority of you know that we have been inviting a great number of our customers, our partners, our network partners into this meeting, but it is foreseeable not everyone has the time to join a webinar. Therefore, we will be sending out our recorded session of this webinar afterwards, but also we will be publishing the recording on YouTube on our official channel. So for the non-attendees who have sent out their questionnaire prior to our meeting, I will be asking those questions during this meeting, at this meeting, momentarily and momentarily to Lara directly, and we will be collecting those answers to better inform you. But in the meantime, as you are valuable and respected attendees, as you are dedicating time for this webinar, you have the priority always at our hearts, with our regards. So please feel free to come off your mics or write down your questions in the chat. I will more than happy to moderate those questions and ask them to Lara immediately. So Lara, while listening all of the insights that you shared, especially with the case study that we popped out with the Jackson State University, for a random university, let's say any university that is out there, new to this concept, the whole concept, digital credentialing, what is the most immediate and impactful benefit they can expect to see after implementing a digital credentialing program at their university? What could be the ideal scenario for them to see at the first minute?
Yeah. So in that case, more generally speaking, for any higher education institution that is starting the journey of digital credentials, this thing that we have seen from our customers while onboarding, the first thing that they are seeing and being attracted to is the visibility, because it's instant. It showcases that the students and the recipients are valuing the credentials and valuing the time and effort that went into them. They are being shared across different social media platforms. They are being interacted with, engaged with. So the visibility that you are getting through these digital credentials will be the first thing that you will notice, which will highlight not only the student's success, but also your success as the issuer of those credentials.
Exactly. Glad to hear that. And it's very important to hear such examples because during this meeting of ours, by the way, Lara, I turned off your screen sharing. I wanted to populate some recordings for our YouTube channel as well, so we can stand side to side on this webinar. Let me also pin myself. Great. Well, regarding the whole examples that we are experiencing here, the sample story that you mentioned, it is very efficient and very important. When we think of the whole concept of digital credentialing as a 101 for all of the attendees and the listeners out there, it is very important to understand this. It is not a very complicated concept at first, but at some level and after developing some nuance, but also expertise, you get the benefit from different levels of its feature sets. But at the very basics of it, it gives you visibility. It gives you a marketing opportunity with zero cost. That is a no-brainer. You send out a certificate or a badge, not as a PDF, but with a URL that can be shared on social media platforms. But Sertifier gives you the infrastructure to share those certificates or badges on LinkedIn with one click. That's it. And thanks to this, all of the connections of the connected person who is also recipient of your campaign or of your course, of your higher education institution as a member or a student, they instantly showcase their results, but also improve your brand's visibility. That's it. No brainer. Lovely. Lara, when we think of the impact, when we think of a progress, it's very important to also measure it. You cannot succeed at that thing that you cannot measure, obviously. So what are the top two or three things that pops into your mind, those metrics as an administrator of an higher education institution should be tracking to prove the value and return on investment of their digital credentialing program that you might say?
So when we are talking about tracking, I think the first thing that we can look to is admin efficiency. Time is money. Time is valuable and can't be taken back. So if you are saving time by transitioning into digital credentials, by automating your digital credential campaigns, the amount of time that you are saving is the biggest metric, the most important metric maybe that you can look into. A second thing is we have been talking about it from the start, but it's student engagement. How much of these credentials are being engaged with, how many shares, how many LinkedIn profile additions that you are getting. And another thing that you can also look to is tracking the student outcome. Are those students with digital credentials being employed more? Are they being accepted to internships more? So that's maybe a higher as the last step of metrics that you can look into, but I can give these three.
Lovely, and glad to hear your insights on this. And these are the metrics that you can think of while calculating your return on investment, obviously. But within such applications, digital credential management applications like Sertifier, it is obvious there are some metrics that you can take into consideration while thinking of your success rates. Because while tracking down some of your progress, you need to also take into consideration what is progressing and what is not, what is failing eventually. Not always all the credential campaigns are successful, but I humbly believe that at Certified we are doing best to increase your metrics eventually by not just providing some let's say foolish documentation and send it on to you directly via emails, bombarding you with millions of pages of documentation, but also that is what we do. And what we also do is we are trying to provide you the most efficient user interface and user experience within application to provide you an enhanced experience, not just for you, but for your end users to keep up with some metrics like metrics of social media share rates that you can think of, because those rates means, let's say you created a campaign for 100 of your students, then those 100 certificates or badges or diplomas, those digital versions of these credentials, they can be shared on social media. If they get shared with 50%, then only 50%, only 50 of these digital credentials are visible on social media. Let's try to keep it up with 100% share rate. And if there are valuable insights that you can think of or get to know, then these are hidden inside the application user interface. Therefore, it will be easy for you to like track your ROI here. Also, verification clicks maybe, because when it gets to the employability of your students, like tracking down their LinkedIn's with the tokens thanks to an integration, it makes sense. But eventually, when we think of a clue that will allow you to better understand the value of your credentials, it is the number of verification clicks that occurred via your digital credentials that you send out to your students. So keep in mind that if you have a high number of verification clicks of your credentials, let's say that they are just like in Certifier, they're being clicked and verified for at least 3 times organically, then it means your credentials, they have some sort of value, and also your students, they tend to use them. They either embed them to their resume or do something relevant to it. Also, a credential operate, it definitely makes sense for the majority of the universities. I wanted to also like list down 3 different ROI metrics here, Lara, with your permission. It is really important to like think of those open rates too, because if you send out a credential campaign but no one opens the campaign and clicks on your credential, it means your whole campaign, your whole course, and eventually the university is failing entirely. It means, one last question on my end. That is a question that was also sent from one of our esteemed like customers. Lara, when we think of like the whole student perspective here, like how does a digital credential help a student stand out more than a line on a resume when we think? Because for the higher education institution directors, the program directors here, there should be also obvious value offers that they need to adopt just thinking of their students, not the ROI metrics, not the pricing strategy, not the like mouth-watering discounts, but especially it is really important to see its effectiveness for their students. So when we think of the ways to help a student stand out, so what could be the essential benefit for them, do you think?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. To answer that question, I think it would be fair if we make a comparison between a digital credentialing page or a collection of digital credentials, a verified profile for the recipients of Certifier, getting their credentials from Certifier, and a resume in PDF form generally. So we can make a comparison. So first of all, in a resume, yes, there's information about the certification that has been gained by the recipient or the student that has been completed for the courses. There is the name of the issuer, maybe, but what is missing is that, first of all, there is no way to verify this information. Everyone can write anything on their resumes. If there is no easy way to verify this information, then we can't trust this information. However, with digital credentials, every issuer is verified through us. You can see that the issuers, they are marked as trusted with a green check mark. So this means that we have completed our part, our due diligence in
Blue.
checking.
With a blue mark,
Yeah.
we complete the entire end-to-end KYB for our customers. But yeah, sorry.
And you can, with one click, you can verify these credentials. You can see when it was issued. You can trust that this information has not been changed. You can see who issued the credentials and whom it was issued to. So that's one of the huge differences between a digital credential profile and a resume. I think another big difference is the amount of information that you can get from these two versions of recognitions. From the resume, you have limited space. I think the rule is 2 pages max. For whenever you are creating a resume, but 1 page is better because it's easier to read and go through. So there's not much space that you can put information into. With digital credentials, first of all, you have information about the issuer if you want to reach out. If you want to reach that information, you have detailed information about the credential itself, why it was given to, what was done by the recipient or the student to get this credential, what was the content, what was the format, how long did it take, if it was online, if it was a free or a paid certification, all of that information aligned with aligned skills that you can also see the descriptions of. So you can see which skills are being included in that digital credential. That's the second big difference between resumes and digital credentials profile. And I think they are enough. They are enough big differences to take into consideration.
More than enough. I agree with you. Glad to hear that. No further questions. I am fulfilled, and I hope all the listeners on the variety of the platforms are going to be fulfilled. Thank you so much. I yield the mic back to you, and I will turn off my mic, apologies, from now on to say goodbyes to our beloved attendees.
So thank you to you, Arda, and thank you to you all who took the time of your day to come join us to listen to us for 45 minutes. You will be receiving a recap email in the next 48 hours, which will include the recording of this webinar. It will also be including a guide that we have prepared around the points that we made today. So you can have more examples and more detailed information about all the things that we talked about today if you want to. And of course, you will be receiving your participant badges as well for your valuable time. The last thing that I want to say, we would love to talk with you. We would love to answer your questions. We would love to provide you with personalized guidance and make sure that you have what you need. So I encourage you all to reach out to us to book a demo, also to see if you're eligible for our back to school campaign as well. to benefit from the offer, or if you are already a customer of ours, you can reach out to your customer success manager, who will be able to help you greatly with your digital credentialing campaigns. Once again, thank you everyone so much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.